Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about some questions that you guys had. And if you're not following me on Instagram, I did mention that I was going to be doing a Q&A, and I invited everyone to ask me questions, anything and everything. And I mentioned that I was going to be sharing just a little bit more about myself, about my educational journey, my life, and what my experiences have been. So one of the most common questions that I get asked is, how did you become hard of hearing? I was actually born premature. This was actually a byproduct of the incubator that they placed me in. For those of you that don't know, a lot of times when preemies are placed in incubators, or when they're born premature in general, we have a higher risk of having multiple disabilities. And so this is what my parents weren't informed of. But we actually did not find out that I was hard of hearing, and I say we because that included me too. We actually did not find out that I had hearing loss until I was about 6 or 7 years old. Even though I do have a deaf dad and I am considered a coda, it wasn't something that was hereditary in my case. Another question that I get asked a lot is, do you wear hearing aids? And for me, when I first found out that I had hearing loss, the doctor recommended that I should wear hearing aids. This was one of the things that they provided as a solution. So because I was young and because I was told that I needed to do this, I went to the audiologist. We had the examination done. We determined just how much hearing loss I had. I had ear molds made, and we went through the whole entire process. And so I wore hearing aids from the age of 7 on towards high school, I want to say. I, of course, tried to wear hearing aids, and I purchased a new set once I was older and I really understood the necessity of them, the cost of them. And if you have questions about that, or if you have any concerns, you would just like to learn a little bit more about that, please message me your questions, and I would be more than happy to kind of give you more insight about that. But as far as my own personal preference, I prefer not to wear them, though I do have them and I do wear them in certain circumstances. I prefer not to wear them. There are a variety of ways for you to learn. So specifically in my case, I have helped many families and many teachers and students learn ASL, simple vocabulary, basic phrases. And so if you are interested in receiving one-on-one instruction with me, please do DM me. Let me know that you're interested, share your contact information, and make sure that you're following me so that we can connect. If there is something that you would like to learn and you're more focused on independent learning, I will definitely include that down in the description bar down below. Another great question that people have asked is, did you go to a deaf school or were you mainstreamed? And my entire education, from kindergarten all the way to college, I did not attend a deaf school, even though I desired to, and even though it would have been very interesting and I would have learned so much from that institution. I did not have the opportunity to go to a deaf school. And it actually wasn't until I became an adult that I found out that there were deaf schools available and deaf colleges that we could attend. So that is something to keep in mind if you have a student that's deaf, if you have a child, if you have a family member, somebody, anybody that you know that is deaf or hard of hearing. Just to be aware that they do have deaf schools and deaf colleges and a whole entire deaf community that they can be a part of. One of the more interesting questions is, have you ever dated anyone that is deaf? And the answer is no. I've never dated anybody that is deaf, and it's not to say that I didn't want to. I definitely think that going to a mainstream school had a lot to do with the fact that I dated and I married somebody who was hearing. And if you guys would like to hear more about my story as far as how I met my husband and how we were able to really do life together, me being hard of hearing and him being hearing, I would be more than happy to share that with you. So I will save that for another video. But if you have any questions about that, I will put together a separate video as far as dating and what my experiences have been being hard of hearing. Another great question that I received was something that I had to think about for quite some time. There were so many different things, but if I had to choose one, I would have to say communication. And this is part of the reason why I'm so passionate about what I do and I'm so passionate about helping other people. It's just because I know what it's like to be in a situation where you're surrounded by people, people that you love, people that you want to be around, but you feel as though you're the only person in the room. And to me, that is one of the most loneliest places that you could ever be because you're surrounded by people, but you're not able to connect with them. I had this picture, this mental picture of someone being in a pit, and there's a person that's just right outside that can help you, that has what you need, but there's no way for them to reach down and to grab you. They're able to see you and they see you in that place where you're pretty much helpless. There's just no way for you to connect. And so, with that picture in mind, I think even now as an adult, it's been the hardest thing for me to navigate. And people don't really understand that because I love being with people. I love interacting, meeting new people, having conversation. I love being around people. But it has taken me so much and it's so draining to be engaging with people, but to understand that with every interaction that you have, you really have to give it your all, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually, physically. So if you know anybody that is hard of hearing and an introvert, just make sure that you are paying close attention to what they need and really just being considerate about how they're feeling and how they're doing, in the interacting with people. And hopefully I'm not being too confusing with the answer that I'm giving. I would love to expound on this because there's so much that I could really go into, so many different stories that I can share about what has happened and what I would recommend for somebody who's interacting with someone that is introverted and hard of hearing. I think that that's been one of the most challenging things overall, just communication, whether it's with a stranger or somebody that I know, somebody that I love. Just everyday encounters. It's so difficult, but my heart for people and the joy that I receive from helping others, it has not changed. So that is one thing that I'm grateful for, but I can say honestly that it comes from God because every day is a struggle. Every interaction is a struggle. Now, most people don't know that I am hard of hearing until I either tell them, or if they are able to hear clearly enough, they will recognize that I'm different based on my speech. So I do have a speech impediment. I do have difficulty hearing certain sounds, pronouncing certain sounds. Um, but this is something that I've really made peace with. I went to speech therapy, I did all of it. And as much as I tried and as hard as it has been for me to really connect with the hearing world, I've done my best to improve my speech. But at this point, I think sometimes, you just get to a point where you're just old enough and you're like, it's not a big deal. People might love it, people might hate it, but eventually you just have to be okay with who you are, what you can and what you cannot do. So yes, I do have a speech impediment and I try as best as I can, but my speech is not perfect and I'm okay with that. So let that be an encouragement to any of you that are practicing, that are trying to develop your speech or trying to improve your speech. Don't allow anything to discourage you from growing, and don't allow people to make you feel bad if you say things incorrectly or if your speech is a little bit different from theirs. Everybody's different. Everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses. The important thing is that you're able to communicate with those that love you, and those that love you are able to communicate with you. What would I say to parents that have a deaf child or teachers that have a deaf student? I would say that your child, though they may grow up different, though they may have difficulties, your child is capable of achieving so much. Yes, they might have difficulty hearing. Yes, they might miss out on a lot of things. But if you include them, if you provide resources for them, if you learn for them and you help them to really understand that their hearing loss is a gift and it's not something to be ashamed of, I think that you'll really have a better opportunity to connect with your child, with your student, and you'll find I believe, in learning more about the deaf community and learning the different ways that you can accommodate your child, that you will really get the opportunity to bond with them, because you will have a deeper understanding of what they go through. You'll have a deeper understanding and compassion for the things that they struggle with. You will have a deeper connection with them because you're really taking time to step into their shoes, and you're trying to help them to be all that they can be, to really work with your child to turn what people might call a weakness into a strength. Show them that there are other people in the world that are like them, that are able to accomplish great things, that have gone on to do wonderful things, and really make it a point to show them that you're in it with them, that they are not alone, and that you love them, no matter what anyone else may say, no matter how it is that they may feel, that they have someone in their corner, and that they have the love and support that they need. Thank you so much to everybody who has participated, who asked the questions. I really enjoyed reading your questions, answering them, taking the time to respond, and I hope to be doing more of these in the future. Please do make sure that you are following me so that you can see the next Q&A that I put out, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. What did I just say? Oh, Jesus, I'm getting like all tongue-tied.